Welcome to Storyflow Diaries. Today's tale reminds us that dignity and respect are things no one can take away. Sit back and enjoy this inspiring story of Jason Taylor, a young man whose calm resolve taught a powerful lesson on fairness. Jason Taylor, a confident but humble young man, arrived at the Dallas-Fort Worth airport one sunny morning, preparing to fly to New York for an important business meeting. Though his father, Robert Taylor, was a well-known businessman, Jason always preferred to keep his background private and earn respect on his own. Dressed casually in a black hoodie and jeans, Jason boarded the plane with a first-class ticket. However, Emily Banks, a sharp-tongued flight attendant, greeted him rudely, assuming he didn't belong there. She questioned his ability to afford the seat and treated him unfairly, ignoring his simple requests and creating an uncomfortable atmosphere. Despite the tension, Jason stayed calm and addressed the situation respectfully, seeking help from the airline's customer service. To Emily's shock, Jason's last name was revealed, and it turned out his father owned the airline. Yet Jason's message remained clear. He didn't want special treatment. He just wanted fairness and respect, showing us all the power of grace and dignity in the face of judgment. Jason Taylor was a calm and confident young man, someone who believed in making his own name, despite being the son of a wealthy and influential businessman, Robert Taylor. Unlike many in his position, Jason stayed humble and never relied on his father's success to define him. On a bright sunny morning, Jason arrived at the bustling Dallas-Fort Worth airport, dressed casually in a black hoodie, jeans, and sneakers. He blended in with the crowd, looking like any other traveler. Jason was on his way to New York for an important business meeting, a step toward building his own reputation. He didn't want special attention or recognition, just an opportunity to prove himself on his own terms. With his quiet confidence, Jason walked through the airport, unaware that this seemingly ordinary flight would soon test his resolve and teach a powerful lesson about dignity and respect. As Jason boarded the plane with his first-class ticket in hand, he was greeted by Emily Banks, a flight attendant with a sharp attitude and a judgmental air. Instead of welcoming him like any other passenger, Emily glanced at Jason dismissively and immediately made an assumption. "Your seat is in the back," she said coldly, without even looking at his ticket. Jason frowned, surprised by her tone. Politely, he showed her his boarding pass. "Actually, my seat is in first class," he said, pointing to seat 1A. Emily sighed loudly and rolled her eyes. "Are you sure you can afford the seat?" she asked, her voice dripping with condescension as she looked him up and down. Despite the cutting remark, Jason kept his composure. Without raising his voice, he calmly responded, "I belong here," and walked past her to his seat. Little did Emily know, her judgmental behavior would soon come back to haunt her. Once the plane was in the air and passengers began to settle in, Emily's rude behavior toward Jason became impossible to ignore. As she moved through the first-class cabin, Emily smiled warmly at the other passengers, serving drinks and snacks with ease. But when it came to Jason, she deliberately skipped over him, pretending as if he wasn't there. Jason noticed the subtle whispers and curious glances from nearby passengers. It was clear Emily had said something, and the air felt thick with quiet judgment. Still, Jason kept his cool, choosing to stay calm despite the growing tension. After a while, he politely asked, "Can I get some water, please?" Emily turned to him slowly, forcing a fake smile. "Maybe later," she said curtly before walking off without another word. Jason sat back, stunned but composed. His frustration grew, but he refused to let it show. He couldn't understand why he was being treated this way, but one thing was clear: he wouldn't let it go unnoticed. As the flight continued, Jason's frustration quietly simmered beneath his calm exterior. He noticed Emily serving drinks and snacks to everyone else, but each time she passed him, she acted as if he didn't exist. The whispers from other passengers didn't help, adding to the uncomfortable atmosphere. Finally, a fellow passenger sitting nearby, Mark Wilson, leaned over and spoke quietly to Jason. "I've seen her do this before," Mark said with a knowing look. "Let's just say she has her biases." Jason nodded, grateful for Mark's support, but he knew he had to act. He stood up calmly and walked to the front of the cabin, seeking out someone who could help. That's when he found Linda Morgan, the head of customer service on the flight. "Excuse me, ma'am," Jason said politely. "I need to address something. I've been ignored and treated unfairly by one of your flight attendants." Linda's face grew serious as she listened carefully to Jason's calm explanation. "I'm very sorry to hear that," she said sincerely. "I'll take care of this immediately." With Linda now involved, Jason returned to his seat, knowing the situation was finally being addressed. Moments later, Linda Morgan returned to Jason's seat with a warm but serious expression. "Mr. Taylor, I deeply apologize for what has happened today. This is completely unacceptable, and we're addressing it immediately." The words "Mr. Taylor" seemed to echo through the cabin. Emily, who had been nearby, froze in place, her face turning pale as realization dawned. She glanced nervously at Jason, suddenly understanding who he was, but quickly looked away, unable to meet his eyes. Jason, calm as ever, was taken aback. He hadn't mentioned his last name to anyone, so how did Linda know? Just then, his phone buzzed with a message from his father. "Son, I heard what's happening on your flight. I'm handling it." Jason's eyes widened as he read the text. He hadn't told his father a thing, yet Robert Taylor, owner of the airline, was already intervening. It was a powerful moment for Jason. His father's influence was undeniable. But Jason hadn't sought special treatment. He only wanted fairness. Looking up, Jason sat back in his seat, his calm demeanor unchanged, while Emily stood awkwardly, the weight of her actions now clear. As the plane began its descent into New York, Emily returned to Jason's seat, her face flushed with embarrassment. "Mr. Taylor, I'm so sorry," she stammered, her voice shaky. "I didn't realize who you were, and I didn't mean to treat you that way." She fumbled with her words, clearly mortified by the situation. Before Jason could respond, the pilot's voice came over the intercom, addressing the entire cabin. "Ladies and gentlemen, we apologize for any inconvenience. We've been informed of a customer service issue, and we're working to resolve it. Thank you for your understanding." When the plane finally landed, Jason was greeted by two airline staff members who escorted him off the plane. To his surprise, his father, Robert Taylor, was there waiting for him, along with Linda and the airline's CEO. "Son," Robert said with a knowing look, "I've dealt with the situation. Emily's been removed from duty." Then with a proud yet gentle smile, he added, "But I want you to know, no one has the right to treat you any less. You handled this with grace, and I'm proud of you." Jason nodded, feeling a wave of gratitude wash over him. It wasn't the special treatment he wanted. It was the recognition of his dignity, something no one could take away. As Jason left the airport, he took a moment to reflect on the experience. He realized that people often judge others without knowing their full story, making assumptions based on appearances or status. But what mattered most to him was how he handled the situation. Jason knew that staying calm and standing up for his dignity was the true victory. It wasn't about special treatment. It was about asserting that respect should never be taken for granted. He thought about the lesson in all of this. How important it is to treat everyone with kindness and fairness, no matter who they are. This story reminds us, Jason thought, that respect is something no one should have to fight for. And with that, he walked away, knowing that dignity and respect were his to carry, no matter what. Thank you for watching. Let's all remember to treat others with kindness and fairness. Subscribe to our channel for more inspiring stories.